Hello, it's Sis Volk. Time to enjoy card making with me. Because it's almost New Year to me and to many viewers too, this time I'm making a card with fireworks. For this I'm using these fireworks, or also called sunlight stamp set. I use different colors of embossing powder from AlinaCraft. I show here a red, a bronze, silver and light blue color embossing powder. The bronze color is my favorite color, it shines really nicely. The embossing is also very crisp, as you can see with the word congratulations. I'm using a silver and gold glitter powder. Alina also sells these glitters. I have the translucent, pearlescent glitters here that I also use for my Christmas ornaments. These translucent glitters looks best when combined with transparent embossing powder. I want to start mixing the embossing powders with the glitters. I have an empty jar from Alina here. They can be bought separately. In my case, it's a used up jar of embossing powder. In this you could mix a large amount of embossing powder with glitter if you want. I use only a small amount and show you how little powder you need to make a card and envelope. Using the back of this plastic spoon, I scoop 4 small amounts of embossing powder into the jar. And to this I add 1 scoop of gold glitter. The amount to mix is about 1 to 4. That is 1 part glitter and 4 parts of embossing powder. Oops, almost in the wrong jar. Mix it well. Would you add more glitter to the embossing powder, the glitters will no longer stick. Now with my small amount, it's hard to tell if I'm exactly at 1 to 4. The advice for the maximum amount of glitters is 3 glitters and 7 embossing powders. 3 and 7. It's a matter of trying out what works out best. I cut the card panel from black thick paper at 9.8 centimeters. That's 3/6 of an inch by 20.4 centimeters wide, about 8 inches. I use the pages of an old photo album for this. This way I have a cheap way to get beautiful sturdy black paper for my cards. I score a smooth piece of A4 paper at 10.5 centimeters. That's 4/1/8 of an inch. This I fold over with a valley fold outwards. And after that I cut the card to size. If all goes well, my card is then 10.5 centimeters wide, 4/1/8 of an inch, and the panel is on all sides about half a centimeter smaller than the card, leaving a nice wide edge. Most of you probably already know my homemade embossing pouch. It's a double folded pantyhose with ordinary talcum powder in it. You need this to be able to make a nice sharp embossing print. I generously wipe talcum powder on the paper. This can easily be wiped off after embossing. When I first saw this stamp set, I knew I could make many different kinds of cards with this. With a little imagination, you could also make flowers out of them, by stamping them on top of each other. Or just stamp a print as a point of attraction for a fun colored image. I'm likely to make these someday, and then of course I will show them off on my Instagram, Facebook and Pinterest accounts, Sis Volk. At the end of the video I show a card where I use this stamp set as a sun. Now I am using it for a fireworks card. For convenience I am sticking all the sunbursts on acrylic blocks. I'm guessing it will work without a stamping platform too. For fireworks, well, it's not so bad if 1 or 2 stripes fail. I want to emboss with blue embossing powder later on. Again I take 4 small scoops of embossing powder. I choose not to take these pearlescent powders. For fireworks it would be not striking enough. I mix it with 1 part silver glitter. It looks like I'm adding 2 amounts, but my first scoop was a little too small. Mix it as best as you can. You'll see later why I mixed so little embossing powder. You really don't need much. I will start by stamping the bottom stamp. That will be the fireworks, which should be the most in the background. I'll take the largest one for this. I stamp with Versamark ink, special ink for embossing. Alina also sells such ink. The links for all the products are listed in the description below this video. My acrylic block is just not big enough for the stamp. It just about fits. I find a nice place to make a print and press evenly all over. I am not worried about missing a piece there in the middle. Now I sprinkle a very small amount of embossing powder in the center of the fireworks explosion. This I spread over the print with as little movement as possible. I want the light powder to stay in the center, with some small spills out to the sides. You can see that by lightly tapping the back, I spread the powder, just until all the powder sticks to the ink print. Rather sprinkle a little too little than too much. You can always add powder a second time, as I am doing now. We will save the remaining powder for later. I have a dark blue embossing powder here that is very similar to Alina's dark blue embossing powder. See what embossing powder and glitter you have and try it out. Again, I take 4 scoops of powder and mix it with a scoop of silver glitter. I love working with glitter. It gives an incredibly beautiful effect on a card. So I just fill the rest of the print with this dark blue embossing powder. I play the embossing in accelerated mode. You can see exactly where the powder has melted. Because of the glitter, you see a nice glitter effect. It also feels more coarse. For the next fireworks explosion, I mixed the bronze embossing powder with gold glitter. Again on a new piece of paper and again 4 scoops. I'm taking slightly larger scoops now, so a slightly larger scoop of glitter added as well. I choose another stamp and make sure it touches the paper everywhere. The stamp may extend over the paper at the edges. First, I sprinkle some of the red glitter embossing powder in the middle. It's actually not all that convenient to sprinkle such a small amount from a jar. From the paper it actually works best. When scattering excess powder back onto the paper, with such a small amount, it is not at all bad that a different color of embossing powder might mix in. although I have to say that I did not notice the first color of powder coming off or mixing with the second color. At most a few grains, but of course you don't want those in a clean pot of powder. For this next print I am doing it a different way. This third print I emboss in a color of plain bronze unmixed powder. I'm going to stamp an image over it later. The big fireworks explosion goes over this again. It is important that it goes right over the other explosions and also that it goes outside the paper. The card would not be beautiful and not realistic if all the prints fell inside the card or lined up neatly. So take a good look at what real fireworks look like in a photo, for example. Then you will get an idea of how you would like it to look. I did use very little powder, so it is a bit of sprinkling, but it's exactly enough for a card and an envelope, so no wastage. And I'm very frugal. When stamping, remember to always put the ink on the stamp and not the other way around. When you would press the stamp on the ink pad and you push too hard, too much ink will get on the stamp and in the creases of the stamp, and the print won't be as nice and sharp. The same stamp now goes slightly offset over the plain bronze print. With this I create depth in the fireworks explosion. You can see that this also gives a cool effect. It's a lot of fun to experiment with this. Different shapes, different colors and also the composition. Stamp the stamps one after the other and see what a cool effect is created. By gently tapping the paper, you will see the embossing powder spread out. The last bit of blue embossing powder goes over this. are still grains of embossing powder or glitter in places where you don't want them to stick, you can also blow very gently. I also did this regularly. Only I kept it to the side away from the camera. Otherwise, I would blow away the powders that are on the sheets next to it. The last one I embossed with plain powder again. And now I stamp again with the same stamp slightly shifted in this spot and then go over it with the mixed glitter powder. Now one last embossing. I still have some powders on my sheets and I'm going to use them for the envelope. I also make the envelope anti-static with talcum powder. I only stamp the print on one side of the envelope. I stamped a large fireworks explosion over the edge of the paper. For the envelope, I really do have to make sure my heat tool is up to temperature before I let it blow on the envelope. There's a danger that this thinner envelope paper will curl a bit, or that the glue will come off the envelope. I assume you understand the principle now, that's why I speed up this video. You do need to be patient when working with embossing powders. If you slip or blow, the powder blows away, and from tapping too hard, too much powder also falls off the print. I hope you can see on the camera the difference between the glitter print and the normal embossing print without powder. is my card panel again. You can see it's still fuzzy from the talcum powder. I use an old sock of my son's to wipe off the powder. It has holes in it, so he doesn't need it anymore. I also use it regularly to wipe glitter or powders off my work surface. I pat it out and throw it away when it gets too dirty. For the text I have a handy stamp set with matching die. This makes it easy to create a supply of sentiment strips. I made a video before how you can also use these banner strips in other creative ways in combination with glitter. The link to this video is in the description. There are texts on this set for different occasions. You can use it for Valentine's Day, for birthdays, hello cards or sympathy cards, and birthday cards. I use the text Merry Everything and Happy Always from this set. I stamp and emboss them and keep these in a bag and then see which one I can use when I need one. Alina sells several such stamp sets with matching die cuts. I believe I have 2 different sets in the bag here. To adhere the card panel to the card, I use double-sided adhesive tape. They come in different sizes. I have the 3mm tape and the 5mm tape. It sticks super strong. There's up to 50 meters on a roll. I've shown the perfect way to use it before. First fold over the corners and pull off the middle. Then you can slide the card panel a bit to where you want to stick it. And then you pull the corners off. Sometimes a piece of tape rips. I then use a needle to get the piece of tape out. I cut a very small piece of the card to make the frame fit better. I want to stick the text banner a bit raised on the card with foam tape. Alina also sells rolls of foam tape for this. I make the tape black at the edges with a permanent marker, so the edges are no longer visible. To glue it on, I use my T-ruler. Super handy thing. I left the back of the tape on one side. I use this to slide the strip into the right place. Once it's right, I press it on. And voila, my card is ready. I also made the exact same card with the same embossing powders, but without the glitter. And that is also very pretty. Wait till the end of this video, because there I will show you another card where I used this stamp. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel Sis Volk if you would like to see more of my videos on Alina's channel, and also hit the bell button to not miss any of my new videos. You can find a link for all of the products I used in the description below. I get a small commission when you use any of my links to buy an item from AliExpress. This helps me to make more videos, while it doesn't cost you anything extra. AlinaCraft is a good hobby store in China that only releases and sells original designs. Here you see another card design to use the sunray or fireworks stamps. I used explosion powders for this card and white embossing. You will find a video with this technique on my channel as well. I wish you all a happy new year. Happy crafting, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!